really died and he really rose from the dead.
You give me some medical records and I'll believe it, okay? You show me Jesus Christ's medical chart, I'll buy into it. I'll be a Christian today. I think he was a very prominent figure in history that created a lot of commotion, but, you know, people needed to believe in something. And he wasn't what everybody wanted, what he actually was. People just needed something. And he wasn't what he's been, like, created now.
All right. What about his resurrection from the dead? What do you make of that?
I wasn't there, I didn't see it. I'm not gonna believe anything I don't see for myself, thanks.
Did you see the Battle of Waterloo?
Nope.
Do you think the Battle of Waterloo happened?
I don't know. It's history. It's like we've been talking about. It's left up to interpretation.
All right, let me ask you something. When I was at UCLA, there was a man who debated with me that the Holocaust never took place. His point was, the Holocaust is a Jewish plot to garner sympathy. Do you buy that?
No, I'm not talking about the Holocaust. We're talking about Jesus Christ.
We're talking about history, man. You raised the issue history.
No,
you said history is just a matter of interpretation.
The Bible is stories.
Is history just a bunch of stories, or is historical knowledge a legitimate form of knowledge? If historical knowledge is not a legitimate form of knowledge, then don't tell me that you know the Holocaust took place. Because it's just a story, that's all history is. So history's bunk, right? And don't tell me that white Americans enslaved black Americans, because I've never seen a slave. So if you really buy into this idea that history's bunk, don't tell me that black Americans were ever slaves here, because I never saw a black slave. For myself, I am convinced that history's not bunk. I am convinced the evidence is the Holocaust did take place. I'm convinced the evidence is that black people were enslaved in the United States, and I hate that slavery. And I'm not going to kick back and say, well, it's all a matter of interpretation. No, it's not. There's historical evidence, solid evidence, that the Holocaust took place and that African Americans were enslaved in this country. Wouldn't you agree?
I agree with that. That's not what I'm arguing. You're deviating from the point. Why should I believe that Jesus was resurrected?
Because the historical evidence is that he really died and he really rose from the dead.
You give me some medical records and I'll believe it, okay? You show me Jesus Christ's medical chart, I'll buy into it. I'll be a Christian today.
Ma'am, they didn't keep medical records in the first century.
Oh, that's so convenient, isn't that? That's wonderful.
No, rather, it's real convenient for you to say, knowing full well they didn't keep medical records in the first century, it's so convenient for you to say, all right, if you give me the medical records, then I'll believe. Talk about convenient. Give me a break. Come on, man, let's be honest. How convenient of you to say, unless we have it on Polaroid film, I can't believe it, knowing full well they didn't have Polaroid film in the first century. How convenient of you to say, well, show me the medical records from NYU Hospital, and then I'll believe Jesus rose from the dead, knowing full well NYU Hospital did not exist in the first century. Come on, man. Homer, Herodotus, Sophocles, Plato, Aristotle. Show me the medical records for them, will you? Historical knowledge is not based on medical records, ma'am. It's based on the trustworthiness of eyewitness testimony. And the eyewitnesses is that Herodotus and Aristotle and Cicero and Virgil really lived. They're not just figments of people's fertile imagination. And the historical evidence is that Jesus really lived, really died, and really rose from the dead. And eyewitnesses saw him risen from the dead. And they wrote what they saw. That's historical knowledge.
Different ideas of what history is. Did you know that?
Obviously. Obviously, this woman wants the medical records before she can accept something as historical. Obviously, I can't provide medical records on Virgil, Cicero, Demosthenes, Aristotle, or Jesus Christ. Does that mean they're all fictitious?